What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. This is going to be a Smite 9.2 tier list. Like, I know 9.2 ain't out, but there's really not really like any major balance changes for 9.2. So I figured I might as well make a 9.2 tier list. We're going to hop right into this. We're going to do this really different this time. It's going to be a different type of tier list than what I normally do, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But if you guys like these tier list videos, I think the last tier list I did was for mid-season 8, so it's quite a while already, so don't really do these that often, but this is going to be mainly a tier list. I wouldn't say for console players, it's not for console players, but you can kind of apply everything to PC and console, but just kind of your average player tier list. Like what, mid-tier bronze all the way up to around about mid-tier gold. Not for pro players, not for the SPL, not for masters, grandmasters players, or even majority of diamond players. It's going to be mainly your average tier, average player tier list. So keep that in mind when we do go into this, and that as well. So get into the tiers. Like I said, this tier list is going to be a little bit different this time because I'm going to actually do it a little bit differently. I think the balance with the game right now is probably the worst it's ever been. So I'm going to try to make this tier list based around how they should kind of balance the game right now. Because there is a lot of shit in the game, which you guys will see, which you'll know what's good and what's bad. Spoiler, either everything right now is either busted or it's god-awful. There's not really too many things that are actually in between, which we'll talk about. But we got SS tier, that's busted. This is the stuff that you're going to be banning almost every single game, or you're going to probably be seeing in every single game. It is the stuff that has pretty much no drawback, and it's probably some of the best, probably the best picks in the game and best gods in the game. A+ is the stuff that is above average, a little bit above balance. They could use a few little tweaks to kind of get a little bit small nerfs, but they're not on the level of like something that's absolutely busted, and they're not on that type of level. They're above average, but they're not like busted tier and broken tier. So we got that. I'm gonna talk about that in a bit. That's gonna be the 4 gods we're gonna place into the A tier that are the most balanced gods in the game right now, in my opinion. And we're going to put those into the A tier starting in about like 30 seconds after I explain this. That they should balance the game around and how the game needs to be balanced around these 4 gods from each role in the game. It is your balanced stuff. Like right here, I'm just going to have 4 gods. These are the stuff that's actually balanced, which isn't really much right now. It is not much, but there are some gods that actually are balanced, believe it or not. B tier is your below average. C tier is your stuff that's borderline legit useless. It's just not like completely useless, and there are worse stuff in the game. And then F tier is legit stuff that's like legit trash. Just outclassed by every single god in the game, or they just need an entire rework, or like haven't got buffed in like years, or I don't know, just garbage. Like legit garbage tier. Like there's no reason to even have the gods in the game, some of them, with how bad they are. So let's get right into this. Like I said, this is 100% opinionated, so if you guys do not agree with me on anything, let me know in the comments down below. Feel free to give me your guys' own tier list in the comments down below as well. Like I said, this is for 9.2, and this is an average player tier list, so keep that in mind. It is not for the SPL, it is not for the Grandmasters, Masters, or even like Diamond players. This is from your mid-tier bronze all the way up to your mid-tier gold tier games, so with that being said, let's get right into this. We're going to actually start out with the balanced gods. These are the 4 gods from each role that I think right now that the dev team and for Smite, if they want to get this game back on track, because right now, I know I'm not the only one that thinks this, the balance for the game is awful. They keep adding new items. They added tier 4 relics. They added tier 4 glyphs for the Season 9. That threw the balance out of whack even more when they can barely balance the items, let alone the gods in the game the way it is. These are the 4 gods that I'm going to place into A tier that the game needs to be balanced around. First one, we got Ra. Ra is the most balanced mage in the game. Let's move Ra right on up. I think you need to balance the game around him. He is the most balanced mage in the game right now, currently. He doesn't have really any mobility, but he's in the spot where he can be really good depending on the player, but he's not really like busted, and he's not really that bad. You can make him work, and he works on most teams. He is legit like the definition of balanced right now for the mages. I think he's the most balanced mage in the game. And that is what they need to balance the game around. They need to look at Ra and they need to balance the entire mage category around Ra. That's what they need to do right now. Up next, we got a warrior I'm going to throw in there. Where's Chalk? Chalk's going right to A. They need to look at the warriors right now, and they need to look like balance the rest of the warriors, whether they're below or above Chalk on this list. They need to balance the warriors around Chalk. Chalk has always been probably the most balanced, like one of the most balanced warriors in the game. A lot of the higher tier players shit on him because he's kind of bad at higher tiers, but yet again, the higher tier players, there's maybe what, 5% of players are like masters and above. So who cares? I don't know. But if you're going to balance the game around 5% of the player base, let alone 1% of the players, which is the SPL Pro players, then you got a real problem. Which they always seem to do. I wouldn't be surprised that they always seem to do that. As for the Guardian, we're going to actually, where is he at? Jing 10. Jing 10 is the most balanced Guardian in the game right now. We're going to move him right on up to A tier. He's going right here up to A tier. Just everything out of a Guardian and a support that you want right now, but I wouldn't say he's like busted. He has a really good kit. He does his job really well, but I would not say at all that he's like legit busted or like above average or even like below average. He's the definition right now of a balanced support. If they want to balance the game and the Guardians, they need to look at Jing 10 and balance the entire cast of Guardians and supports around Jing 10, because I think he's the most balanced one in the game right now. And then for Assassins, I don't know where she went. She was here a little bit ago. I don't know where she went. Here she is. The most balanced assassin in the game right now, Nemesis. It is Nemesis. I've actually been playing an absolute shit ton of Nemesis recently too. I think she is legit the most balanced. The most balanced assassin in the game. Like, there are going to be some people that disagree with that. It depends how you play her. Like, it's similar to Ra. She has all the tools to be good. It just comes down to the player to actually play her. And she has stuff where it's not really, like, fucking busted, where you just don't click a button and get, like, 10 kills or whatever, or get a guaranteed kill, or, like, delete somebody based off of, like, one ability. She doesn't really have that. I guess her ult, technically, but that's kind of a debuff. That's just a debuff ability. That's not really a damage ability. But I think right now, these four gods right now, Ra, Chalk, Jing 10, and Nemesis are the gods that they need to balance around. They need to go into the balance for this game for 9.3, and they need to look at these four gods, and they need to balance the entire rest of the game around these four gods, because these are the ones that are most balanced right now. And I know there's going to be some people that disagree with that. If you disagree, let me know why in the comments down below. I'll debate you down in the comments. And I would recommend you watch the entire video first, though. Like, if you're going to go in the comments, you're going to go write a comment, please watch the entire video first, because otherwise, the majority of the time, if somebody goes down in the comments and just watches like 5 minutes of the video, they make themselves look really stupid when I probably explained something or talked about something in the rest of the video and they never watched it. So, that being said, we're going to get into this. For 9.2, keep in mind, this is 9.2. Achilles got nerfed. He's still probably the best solo lane in the game. Absolutely freaking busted. I don't know how they did not nerf him more. They took away 10% scaling, I think, on his shield bash. That's it. Like, he's legit busted still. Probably one of the best solo lanes in the game. Probably, if not the best solo laner. Not balanced at all. Needs to be nerfed into the ground. He really does. Agni, man, who knew Agni from going from mid-season being probably one of your most, like, mid-tier mages to probably being busted now? He does too much damage. He is way too safe. Oh, wow. Who could have predicted this, guy? As you add tier 4 relics to the game, and you increase a mage that is already insanely safe and has a shit ton of survivability, and you make that even better to make it to the point where you can't barely dive him to begin with before getting nuked. Like, Agni went from being, like, really safe to begin with and just shitting out really insane amounts of damage to getting buffed and then getting tier 4 relics added to the game. And now you can actually stack, like, a lot more survivability type relics, so you're able to stay alive a lot more. Whether it's Aegis, whether it's beads, whether it's all those type of upgrades for those, med cloak, I don't know, thorns. He's just busted. I think he does too much damage. For a mage, he does too much damage. I think that the damage on his ult and the nukes that he drops with his ult, 3 nukes, that the damage is way too high. That needs to be nerfed. That's where I would start with him at least. I think he's way overtuned though. AMC, wow, another third straight god starting on this tier list, going right to SS tier. What do? They reworked his ultimate to where it gives prot shred and a slow, and ever since then he's been fucking busted. Good balancing Smite, good balancing Titan Forge Debs, clumsy Ajax, whoever else is balancing, Pawn balancing. I think he still might be balancing. Good job, guys. Went from being actually balanced to being like kind of just your middle tier ADC to being legit busted with one change to his ult. With between now and mid-season, that's legit what changed with him, and he's even harder to dive right now because, like I said, the tier 4 relics. See, has a lot more survivability because you can build those, and it's a lot more difficult to dive him and actually kill him, especially with how much damage he does right now too. We go from actually having gods, all 3 gods right now, starting out the tier list in SS tier. Now we're going to go to F tier. Apuk is probably one of the worst gods in the game. I can tell you that right now. There is legit no reason to play him at all. And that's even saying we have tier 4 glyphs and we have new tier 4 relics, and none of them actually did anything for Apuk. He's legit garbage. I don't know why they just never rework him or even buff him. And at this point, I don't even think he needs a rework because the last 2 reworks they did to Bastet and Persephone were both failures. They either made a god insanely broken or they completely ruined a god to the point where she's pretty much not even fun to play anymore. So, I wouldn't even rework Apuk. I just think he needs some number changes because he doesn't do nearly enough damage. And I think the main thing about him is his ult just doesn't do enough damage. I feel like everybody can just stand in your ult and you just don't do any damage. Like, I don't know, I've been playing a lot of them recently just for this tier list as well. I've been testing them out a lot recently and actually trying to make them work with some new builds. Nothing seems to work. I feel like people just stand in your ult. Like, you just don't do enough damage with your ult. It has a huge AoE and people just stand in and they take like fucking chip damage. It doesn't really do anything. Like, they just stand there and it'll still fight you right in your ult. Not to mention, when you throw out your 1, like, his passive makes no sense. Apuk, I think the real reason with Apuk is being so garbage, I think his passive is legit awful. You're going to be throwing out your dead bodies with your 1, and you're going to be using them as damage the majority of the time. You do not have it on a short enough cooldown to the point where you're just going to be tossing out bodies around the map and actually using them to actually proc your passive. It's just not a thing. It just doesn't work, and it makes no sense. I think if they want to look at something with Apuk, I think the first thing they look at is the damage on his ult. They buff that significantly, and then they look at his passive and rework his passive, and I think he might have a chance to be good. Because his kit is okay, like, it has potential. The problem with him is you throw 2 abilities, and then you have your 3, which doesn't really do anything. I think the damage on his 3 really sucks as well. That'd be maybe another thing you look at, compared to like a lot of the other mages in the game, especially a lot of the newer ones that actually do way more damage than him. I just think his damage numbers are overall really low. His ult sucks. His damage numbers on his ult are worthless. And then his passive is legit worthless. I think that's the things I need to look at. But through the entire board of him, like, all his abilities, buff all the damage on his abilities, including his ult, and then rework his passive. There you go. If they actually want him to be good. I just think he's really bad. And he gets stole by pretty much everything right now, too, because you throw out your 1, you throw out your 2, and if you do not kill something with your 1-2 combo, then you have your 3 that doesn't do really any damage at all, apart from a little tick damage, and you're kind of just a sitting duck trying to run away until your stuff goes off cooldown. So he's really difficult to make work right now, too, because junglers are still insanely good, and most of them are broken. Amaterasu going to C tier. She's god-awful right now. She is legit bad. She is really bad. I don't know what happened to Amaterasu. I really don't. They've been slightly buffing her like the last 2 patches, and the buffs have just absolutely did nothing. It might be one of the things where there's just so many broken solo lanes in the game right now and so many other broken warriors that she just can't really get played because there's so many other options. She just gets bopped by pretty much everything. She may actually be good, but there's just so many other broken shit in the game right now that she just can't play into it. That might actually be the problem. And once the other stuff that actually is insanely good would get nerfed, maybe she would actually be good by default. Maybe that's the actual problem. I don't know. I just feel like the builds she tries to build right now too, it takes way too long to get your build online, and your early game is just so bad. You get completely destroyed by like 99% of the other warriors in your 1 to level 3, and you just have no landing phase for the first, I'd say probably like at least until level 5. And by that point, you're usually getting behind by farm wise because you just have to kind of camp under tower and farm away from there because you have really no pressure and you just get shit on by pretty much everything else that you go against. I don't know. And then the builds, like being an auto attack, me like an auto attack based warrior right now really isn't the best either. I don't know. I don't think the builds really are really in her favor either right now. I think the items that she does build need some slight buffs. I don't know. I'm not going to talk about her anymore. It might just be those two cases where everything else is just really busted, and everything else just needs to be nerfed to a point where she's actually able to be played. I think that's maybe the huge problem right now. There's just too much other broken shit in the game. I do think she can be good, but I think there's just too much other stuff that's just busted. On her, got nerfed. I think 1 or 2 patches ago they nerfed the damage on his ult, and he's still insanely good. SS tier, one of the best ADCs in the game. It's extremely safe, shits damage. Got a stun if you can knock people into a wall or into your flagpole or your staff or whatever the thing he has that he can throw up. Anubis, garbage. Anubis is one of the worst mages in the game. Remember, guys? Remember before when they actually reworked the starter items? And before they actually took boots out of the game, I think Anubis was one of the best mages in the game. I really do. He was at least S tier. He was at least an S tier mage. Over the span of a year and a half, Anubis has slowly dove from being like an S tier god, being insanely good around about all levels in your mid tier, like your average games, to being probably one of the worst gods in the game. And it does not help either that they actually increased the anti-heal, like the out of combat, like health regen, I think, for like the healers or anything that has like healing in their kit. So like Aphrodite, Hell, and Anubis, I think, is also in that as well. So that did not help him as well. Anti-heal is really cheap to build right now, and a lot of stuff is running anti-heal. Even the people that really don't even know how to build it, they'll by default sometimes even build anti-heal without even knowing that they have it, and it'll just kind of make you worthless. Junglers are insane right now. You get dove by pretty much everything. If you cannot land your 2 on a jungler, you usually end up dying to the jungler if you cannot heal through all the damage, and they do so much damage it's really difficult to actually heal through all of it. I'm just a victim of the game, guys. Just a victim of the game over the last year and a half. It's came to this point. It's really sad. I think he needs some major buffs. I really do. Hashtag buff Anubis down in the comments below if you want some Anubis buffs, because I can tell you right now, one of my favorite mages in the game, and he's legit trash. You can make him work once in a while and you'll get away with making him work, but apart from that, you're just better off picking pretty much any other mage in the game that isn't Oppuck. Ao Kuang. I actually think Ao Kuang's balanced. I really do. I think Ao Kuang right now is actually balanced. You don't see him that often, but when you do see him, it kind of comes down to what the player does. Kind of similar to Nemesis. I think he actually is balanced right now. I wouldn't say he's busted. I think he actually is balanced. One of the only mages, or one of the only assassins in the game. He technically is a mage, but like one of the only assassins in the game that I think actually is legit balanced. There's maybe a few other ones, but right now, like, purely balanced. Aphrodite, I don't know, they nerfed the absolute shit out of Aphrodite. I think she's below average. I don't think she's that good at all. I really don't. They nerfed the shit out of like her out of combat healing recently with that type of stuff, and then they nerfed a lot of the items. I think they nerfed Lotus Crown and a lot of the other items that she likes to build. She's just not good. She's below average. You can make her work. She still is okay with certain teams, but I think she's just below average. Apollo is still above average. I think he needs some slight nerfs. I think he needs a little slight nerf. I think he's still above average. He did get the shit nerf out of his ult, I think, like a couple patches ago, but he's still performing really well. Above average. Needs a slight nerf to make him a little bit more balanced, in line with the 4 gods we're talking about and we're kind of forming this list around. Hopefully somebody from the devs and somebody that actually balances the game. I know you guys probably don't play your game if one of the devs is watching. You guys probably don't even play your own game. But hopefully you can at least take something from this tier list and actually take in consideration at least something from this list. Whether it's Oppuck being garbage or Anubis being trash or like anything else, and apply it to what we get from 9.3. I doubt anybody's watching from the dev team like Clumsy or Ajax or anybody that actually balances the game. But if you happen to be, please just take this list into consideration and try to just fucking fix the game. I know you guys, like I said, you probably don't even play your own game, but at least that's just what it seems like. Arachne busted. She's a legit pick or ban in every single one of your ranked matches, and you're going to see her in about 99% of your games. Bust. I don't know how long has Arachne been busted? I don't know. I think she's been broken for like legit 2 years, and she just never gets nerfed. Aries, one of the best guardians in the game. It's been like that for I don't know how long now. At least even since like I think mid-season, he was still insanely good. He's even better now because of the tier 4 relics. He has a lot more survivability. That even made him better. And the tier 4 glyphs, with breastplate getting a glyph and then Heartward Amulet getting a glyph. Busted, needs to be nerfed. Artemis, I actually think Artemis is actually B tier. I think she actually has fallen off a lot, actually. It's mainly with how good warriors and like the junglers are right now. I think that she just kind of struggles. I think she is B tier. She's kind of fallen off. One of the only hunters that I think was really good at one point, I think around like mid-season, and she's kind of just fallen off each patch ever since. She just gets dove too hard. Like, she has an ult that's really good, but apart from that, like, she just gets dove by pretty much everything. She just gets shit on. If you're out of position once, you're like legit, you get one-tapped. You get one-tapped by like pretty much everything right now. Artio, still busted. They nerfed Artio, I think, 2 patches ago, and she has not got a single nerf ever since. And then they go and add tier 4 relics and glyphs to the game, and she somehow gets better, and they don't nerf her again. Enough said. Athena, busted. How long has Athena been good? Has there ever been a time that Athena has actually legit been bad? I don't even remember a single time when I've been actually playing in the last at least 2 years that Athena has ever been bad. And now she's crazy good again. She was crazy good at the start of Season 8, and then she kind of dropped off because of some item changes. And then she started coming back again around the mid-Season 8, and now she's fucking busted again. So that just goes to show you, they don't know how to balance their own game, and they probably don't even play their own game. Going to be a legit, probably a ban or a pick in every single one of your games, similar to Atlas. Like, these are the Guardians that are legit probably some of the best ones right now, these 4 right here. Atlas went from being probably one of the worst Guardians on release to getting some substantial buffs, like insane buffs for I think the PTS, or I think it was 9, I think it was the Season 9 patch, I think it was, and now he's arguably the best Guardian in the game. You could probably say these other 3 are probably some of the best Guardians as well, but I'd probably say Atlas is probably the best Guardian in the game. He is so frustrating to deal with. He is so frustrating to deal with. The guy just doesn't die. The problem with Atlas is he just doesn't fucking die. It takes an entire team to kill him. That's the problem with him. He just does whatever he wants, and he just doesn't fucking die. I think he actually would have been balanced too, but he might have actually been balanced, but they did not take into consideration adding tier 4 items that make him fucking broken. Like I said, they added tier 4 glyphs, and then the tier 4 relics that they added. So it made him more survivable, and it made him even better with those glyphs actually being able to be built, because he can build all of them really well. I think that's what they did not take into consideration, and it just goes to show you they don't know how to balance the game. He might have been balanced if they did not change any of the items, and they did not add any more items to the game, and they just kept it the same as Season 9, or Season 8 was at the end of Season 8. He might have been balanced, but adding those items to the game, I think that's kind of what pushed him over the edge, if I really do. Wheelix busted. Does way too much damage, gets around, just insane mobility too. Like, you rotate lanes so quick. You can get from solo lane all the way over to dual lane in I think about like 20 seconds or something crazy on Suku. Does way too much damage, like way too survivable. It's really difficult to lock her down right now as well, just because, like I said, new relics, tier 4 relics. And she does way too much damage too. I just feel like that's the thing. She needs to, I really love a Wheelix, but I think she's way overtuned right now. She got some recent buffs. I think she got 2 buffs in the last like 2 or 3 patches as well, which were kind of unneeded. Just overbusted right now. Baba Yaga's crazy. I wouldn't say she's busted tier, but I think she's A+ tier. She's really good. She needs actually some nerfs. She keeps getting buffed for some reason. I think she needs some nerfs. I actually think her ult, she does way too much damage with her ult. I think they actually need to take the damage and kind of revert some of the damage buffs they gave to her ult, I think, a couple patches ago. Absolutely doesn't. You pretty much like legit two-shot him. If you get caught in her ult with like 2 shots from her ult, you legit get melted in about 3 seconds. It's crazy. Bacchus. I say Bacchus is balanced. I say Bacchus is probably balanced right now. You could argue he's probably below balanced. I'd probably say he's balanced right now, though. I think he's kind of just there. He's kind of just average. You don't see him that much, but when you do see him, he does put in work. He's always just really consistent. He fits on pretty much almost all the teams. I think he's balanced right now. One of the only Guardians is actually balanced apart from Xingtian. So, at least with Bacchus, they got him on the same level as Xingtian. That's one Guardian they actually have balanced. Props to you guys. Props to the Smite dev team. Bakasura is getting buffed this next patch. He's still going to be god-awful. There's just no reason to pick him at all. There is no reason at all to pick Bakasura. He is legit trash. Dog shit tier. Even with the buffs, there is no reason. Until some of these other junglers get nerfed into the ground, like Arachne and a Wheelix so far, there's just no reason to play him at all. He just gets shit on by pretty much everybody. And then same with the Warriors being so good right now. He just can't do anything. He just gets shit on. Baron. I actually think Baron's balanced. Wow, another mage that's actually balanced, guys. Holy shit. We're on a roll. Bastet, busted. Getting nerfed again, and she's still going to be busted. I think she needs to be nerfed back-to-back again for another 1 or 2 patches in a row before she's actually going to be balanced. I really do. And it goes, like, I don't know what they do with reworks recently. Like, they reworked Persephone and they made her from probably one of the funnest gods I've ever played, and one of my favorite mages in the game, to being pretty much like one of the least fun, most boring mages ever, and nobody ever plays her anymore. And then they go and rework Bastet from being like one of the worst characters in the game to being broken for like, I don't know, at least 5 months now, ever since she got reworked. And it has never nerfed her enough. She needs at least more nerfs. She's going to need to be nerfed at least pretty heavily for another 2 patches before she gets bounced. I'm sorry, she's busted. Going to be banned or seen in every single one of your games. Bellona, I think Bellona's balanced right now, guys. Holy shit. Bellona is balanced. We got a warrior that's actually balanced. I know, it's crazy. Holy shit. Medusa actually got buffed. I actually think she's above average. Actually, this is Cabrakan. Cabrakan, I think, is B. I thought this was Medusa. That's actually Cabrakan. I think Cabrakan's garbage. I really do. Actually, I'm going to put him C tier. I don't think he's even B tier. I think he's really bad. I think the problem with Cabrakan is you have to get close to somebody to do all your damage, and you're just a sitting stationary target. So there's just so much damage in the game to where you just, even if you build a full tank, and you build a full tank build and do your role perfectly and play your role perfectly, you just get punished by with how much damage there is in the game right now. That's the real problem with him. Hamazot's got nerfed. Is he still insanely good? Yeah, he is. He's still up to A+. Still really good. Still probably a really top, like, especially in solo lane. I wouldn't say really jungle. I think jungle, he's not that good. But in solo lane, he's still going to be really good. Cerberus. I'm going to put Cerberus in A+ tier. I don't think he's busted tier, but I'm going to put him at A+ tier. He does need some slight nerfs to make him balanced. I feel like he's kind of slightly overtuned. I don't know. I don't know what you would even really nerf on him. That's for the devs to decide. I can't sit and give every idea. I've given enough ideas. I can't decide everything. CERN garbage. Legit trash. How is it has CERN? I think the last time he got buffed, it was the last patch of Season 8. He might have got some small, tiny buffs that did nothing. I think it's to the point where actually CERN needs an entire rework. He's garbage. How long has CERN been god-awful? At least for 2 years. I have never seen a time where CERN is, at least from when I've been playing, at least the last 2 years, that I can remember, where CERN has actually been good. Garbage. Needs either entire rework or some major buffs, because I don't think CERN's ever been good in forever. Chonga. I think Chonga's balanced. I'm going to put her in A tier. I think she actually is balanced right now. Charybdis is above average. I'm actually going to put Charybdis in SS tier. You're going to be seeing him either banned or picked in the majority of your ranked games. Too much survivability. Does way too much damage. Like his 2, I think his 2 actually has prod shred, so you actually you hit somebody with your 2, and actually I think they have a slight prod shred, and they lower you take some of their defenses, or you like shred some of their defenses, and you do way more damage. That needs to go. That should not even be a thing on a hunter. I did not even know that his 2 did that. I thought it was just like a damage thing that had a slight slow. I did not know it had prod shred on it. CERN, I actually think CERN's balanced. Wow, a hunter that's balanced, guys. Holy shit. I know Chiron's still overtuned. I think he got the shit nerfed out of him recently, but Bluestone's getting buffed again. I don't know if that actually do anything for him, but I do think he still needs some slight nerfs. I really do. He's slightly overtuned to the point where he's just kind of above being balanced. Kronos is C tier. He's trash. Kronos is awful. When was the last time you guys actually seen a Kronos in one of your games? I'll wait. Kleena going right up to SS tier. Busted. Clean is busted. Ever since release, how long has Kleena been in the game now? She's been in the game, I don't know how long, and she's been broken. The entirety of her being in the game so far is her being like one of the best assassins in the game. She still pretty much one-taps you with an ult. You take 75% of your health from an ult, from the initial like damage from an ult. That is fucking crazy. That just goes to show you how fucking broken she is. Like, I don't understand. What more do you need? I don't know. She's banned and picked in almost every single one of your games, especially ranked. Cthulhu, I actually think Cthulhu's balanced right now. I would not touch Cthulhu at all. I think it's the most balanced he's actually ever been. I really do. You'll see him in solo lane once in a while, and you can actually see him in support. He does okay in both. He does pretty good in both. Overall, I think he's balanced right now. I don't think he needs any nerfs or any buffs. Kukulin, still SS tier. I don't know how they nerfed the shit out of him, like I think 5 or 6 patches ago, and he's still insanely good. He just never dies. Kukulin never dies. He just keeps coming back. I don't know what. The guy just keeps resurrecting himself, and he just keeps coming back. Cupid, I think, is B tier. I don't think he's actually that good. He used to be really good. He was good at the start of, like, Season 8. And then, like, a lot of the items shifted away from him, and they kind of harshly nerfed him, I think, and then he kind of just fall off. He hasn't really been the same. I don't know, I really don't even like playing against Cupid. He's probably one of the only gods in the game that I would not even argue even have him buffed because I hated playing against him when he was good. I think he's actually in B tier is where he belongs, and he should stay there. Dodgy is really good right now. I actually think Dodgy could be better, but there's just so many other broken junglers in the game right now. I think if some of the more broken junglers like Kleena, Wheelix, and like Arachne and stuff like that actually would get nerfed, I think maybe Dodgy would actually rise up because she has potential to. She has all the things she needs to actually be a top tier like jungler right now. There's just way better options to pick than her. There's no reason to play Dodgy over like a Kleena or like a Wheelix. I'm sorry, there isn't. I think she is above average, though. I don't know if I really would say nerf her, but I would just try to nerf some of the higher tier junglers first, and then see where she kind of lands. I think that's kind of the case where she is because there's just so many other broken junglers right now, to where she's kind of just waiting and kind of biding her time, where they actually get the shit nerfed out of them. Danzaburo, actually I'm going to put him A+ tier. I think he's still above average. Still has the silent ult. Until they get rid of the silent ult, he's going to be kind of above average. He needs more of a sound cue on his ult. I don't know how many times I've gotten killed by an ult that I don't even know that's even running towards me. His ult is legit silent. That's what needs to be changed with him. Until then, he's not going to be balanced because he has pretty much a silent ult. You can pretty much get a free kill on somebody. Discordia. Oh, I actually think Discordia's balanced. Wow, another mage that's balanced, guys. Holy shit. 3 in a row. You don't really see her play it that much, but I actually do think she's balanced. She does really good damage. She has really good CC. She has pretty decent survivability. I wouldn't say she's busted or broken at all. I actually think she's balanced. One of the most balanced mages in the game. Just like Ra, I think. Erlang Shen getting nerfed again. Still busted. You can make him work in the jungle or in solo lane, and solo lane he's like an absolute pain in the ass to deal with right now. Even after the nerfs they're going to be giving him, I think, for the season 9.2 patch. Crazy. Still crazy. Isis, garbage. Garbage tier. Do I even... Or not, it's not Eset. It's Eset, not Isis. It's Eset. I keep calling her by her old name. It's Eset. I don't know why they ever changed her old name, because it just makes people confused. Garbage. She's legit trash. There is no reason to play Isis over any other mage right now in the game. There really is not. If you pick Isis in your games, and you do not land your stun off your spirit ball, you are throwing the match. That is the only thing that she actually does, and it is get a stun and do shit tons of damage with her stun and play off that. If you can't land your stun with a spirit ball, you're legit garbage and you're just useless. Fafnir, I think Fafnir's a B tier. I think the reason why he's not really as good as he used to be is because there's just so much damage in the game. Everybody just does shit tons of damage, and you kind of got to get close to somebody to do your damage, and you can't really do that. Fenrir is getting nerfed next patch. I don't know why. I think he's balanced. I think Fenrir is balanced. Freya. I don't know. I think Freya's busted still. Going SS tier. Probably the better, like one of the best, like mage ADCs in the game still. Ganesh, garbage. One of the worst guardians in the game. I don't even know where you would start with even buffing him. He's garbage. If you pick him in your games, you're just throwing. Jeb, busted. Going right to SS tier, he's busted. Absolutely busted. Gilgamesh, oh wow, another broken warrior that they never nerfed. He's getting nerfed for this next patch, mainly so you don't see him in the jungle. But he's still going to be broken in solo lane, so one of the best solo laners in the game. I think he's just flawed. I think Gilgamesh, with his overall design and everything they gave him, he's just overtuned for a warrior. He's just not what the game needed at right now. He was released way too early, and he should have been released like 2 years down the line when the game had more time to evolve and actually add other gods to the game. I think he was released, and he just was not what the game needed at the time. I think that's his real problem. He's way too over-bloated for a warrior with his entire kit. He just does too much. Guan went from being probably one of the best warriors in the game at the start of Season 8 to being absolutely just nerfed into the ground and like everything just getting shit on. Everything that he does gets shit on, whether it's the healing changes getting nerfed like 3 times and changed 3 times. The items he builds getting nerfed into the ground, like whatever it is. Garbage. One of the worst warriors in the game right now. Needs some major buffs. Hachi, B tier. Below average. Needs some slight buff to make him balanced. Hades. When was the last time you guys seen a Hades in your games, let alone a Hades that actually did anything? The reason why Hades right now is just awful is because everybody has so much damage. During your ult, if people actually just target you during your ult, you get pretty much 2 taps by the ADC. Even if you build like a hybrid build, you're still getting like 3 tapped by an ADC and probably a jungler. Your ult is pretty much like a I go in and I guarantee die button. That's kind of what it is. I think that's his main problem. I don't know. I want to say Hebo is balanced just because he does so much damage, but at the same time, like he just gets shit on by everything. I think he's C tier. I wouldn't say he's garbage, like just shit trash, because he does crazy damage numbers, and you can legit walk up to somebody at like level 10 and one-shot them with your ult with like 1200 damage ult. But at the same time, like I think he's not really that good. And I just think that the reason why he might actually be better if actually some of the junglers and some of the warriors get nerfed. Maybe he'd be a little bit better, but I think that's kind of where he is right now. You'd have to nerf some of them first to actually find out where he lands. Heimdallr. I think Heimdallr's... I don't know. For your average player, I think Heimdallr's balanced. I really do. For your average player, not a pro player, not a high tier like Diamond or like Masters or GM player, I think just your average player, I think Heimdallr's balanced. Hell got the shit nerfed out of her. I don't know why they keep nerfing Hell either. I think she got nerfed, I think, last patch too for 8, or the last patch of Season 8. I think she might have got nerfed. I think she's C tier. She's not good at all. I really don't know why they keep nerfing her. I really don't. Hera's getting buffed. I think she's B tier. She's still not really that good. Like, her ult's just useless. Like, the problem with Hera is her ult is legit useless because it gets 2 taps by an ADC at like level 10. That's the main problem. Her ult is legit useless. She has no ult because everybody does so much damage. And junglers just dive and eat you alive. That's the real problem with her. Hercules getting a small buff that does not matter at all. He is one of the worst solos and worst warriors in the game still. Garbage. You do nothing but fucking try walking away from people and everybody just shits on you and just damage you and legit just blows you up. That's all you do. If you do not land your 1-2 combo, you are a sitting duck and you are garbage. You are legit worthless. Horus. I actually think Horus is balanced now, guys. Wow, one of the warriors in the game that you actually used to be pretty bad that actually has found a good place right now, and I think he's actually balanced. I actually think he's actually better in support than he is in soloing, which is really cool. A warrior that actually works in support and it's actually balanced. Holy shit, guys. They did it. They did it. They actually created a warrior that's actually balanced in support. Wow. Probably the only one I think I'll have on this list, too, that's actually balanced. Actually, that works as a support and that's actually balanced. What is this? Hou-Yi. Hou-Yi is busted. Going SS tier. Way too survivable, does way too much damage, way too much self-peel. Needs to be nerfed. He's always been really good, too. I just don't know why. He's always been insanely good. And then you add a bunch of tier 4 relics that even increases survivability and make him not even be locked down. Hun Bat's alt bot, he's still insane, but the reason why I'm putting him at an SS busted tier is because of an alt bot. I think if they actually want to make Hun Bat's balance, they need to rework his alt. It's sad, but I think they actually need to do that. And his ult is legit probably one of the best, probably the best ultimate in the game, if I'm being honest. Out of all the assassins, I think his ult is probably the best one in the game. He is legit an alt bot, but I think the only way to make him balanced is actually rework his ultimate. I think that's what they're going to end up needing to do sometime soon. Because either when they nerf the shit out of his ult cooldown, then he becomes useless. But then when they revert it, which they did recently, he just becomes insanely broken. I think that's what he is right now. He's legit an assassin that you just pick for the ult, and that's kind of what he is. He's just an ult bot. His ultimate needs to be reworked if they want to make him balanced. That's what it's going to come down to. Imani, I'm going to put at an A+ tier. I think she is above average. I do think she's really good. I don't know. I don't know what they would actually really nerf about her to actually make her balanced. You can probably argue she's probably A tier as well, but like for your average games, I do see her perform really well. Janice going right to SS busted. What a surprise. What a surprise. Janice going right to SS busted. Probably one of the best mages in the game. Insane survivability, insane damage. Like, he has everything you want out of a fucking mage. And he's even more survivable now because tier 4 relics. There you go. Which they did not account for. Jingwei, after these buffs, keep in mind this for 9.2, after these buffs, being somebody that majority usually plays Jingwei as an ADC in the majority of his games, which is me. Will the buffs for 9.2 do anything to her? I don't think so. I think she's going to be B tier. I think she's still going to need some more slight buffs. I wouldn't say she's God tier awful. If you know how to play her, you can make her work. I just put her at a B tier. I think she's a little bit below average. I think she's kind of below balanced still. Jorm. Oh, gosh. Garbage. Put him in F. Why is he going to C tier? Put him in F tier. He's garbage. One of the worst guardians in the game, and he's probably been the worst guardian in the game for, I don't know, at least a year now. And just nothing with him ever changes. He's garbage. Kali. Busted. Probably one of the best assassins in the game right now. She is legit banned or picked every single one of your ranked games. You hop on somebody, you stun them out, and you legit 2-tap them with 2 autos. That's what you do. Broken. There's literally almost no counterplay to her as well. And if you do try to get her killed, then she has an ult that prevents her from dying. And she just goes and kills your entire team and gets her health back to full. So even if you do try to get her close to dying, she has a pretty much I don't die button. And then if she kills somebody, she gets all her health back. So that's real balanced, Tyrese. Real balanced. Kefri. I think Kefri's balanced. I think Kefri's balanced right now. I really do. I'm going to put him at an A tier. What else we got? King Arthur. Oh, gosh. King Arthur's going up right up to SS tier. Right on up to SS tier. Busted. Needs the entirety of all his abilities. The damage on his abilities need to be nerfed yet again. Who knew, guys, King Arthur would actually make a comeback? He was kind of on the decline around mid-season patch for Season 8. And then they added, tier 4 of... I think it was tier 4 glyphs to the game and a bunch of new relics, tier 4 relics. And the guy skyrocketed because it's impossible to lock him down. And he builds every single tier 4 glyph really well. Anything you want, you can pick and build with him. And he builds everything really well. Wow, who knew that was going to be Make 'em Broken again? I can tell you right now, they never did because they probably don't even play their own game. Kukulkan, I think Kukulkan's balanced. I'm going to put him in an A tier. Wow, another balanced mage, guys. Holy shit. Kumbhakarna, even with the small, like, tiny buff they're giving him, which they were better off not even buffing him next patch for 9.2. Still garbage. F tier, garbage. Still really bad. Probably one of I think right beside Jorm. You can argue these two are probably the worst guardians in the game. I'd probably say like Kumbhakarna is probably even worse. I'd rather have a Jorm on my team than a Kumbhakarna. Kuzenbo, C tier, really bad. You don't really die, but at the same time, like, you're unkillable, but you just don't do anything. That's the problem with him. He is unkillable, but he just doesn't do anything for a support. That's his problem. Loki, going right on up to SS tier. I don't know about you guys, but every time I play ranked, Loki just farms my team. If I do not ban Loki, he just farms my entire team. He just farms. He is a farmer right now. He's been buffed. I don't know how many times. They just never nerf him, and then have the tier 4, brand new tier 4 relics, or the tier 4 glyphs. Made him even better. Medusa, A+ tier. Who knew, guys? Medusa would go from being like your middle of the line, middle of the pack ADC to actually being above average and actually borderline on SS tier with how good she is right now. Insane damage numbers, and the reason why I think she's a lot better is because of the tier 4 relics. She's a lot more difficult to actually lock down now, and she has a lot more survivability with those. I think that's the main change to her. Mercury. I think Mercury can still be good. I'm actually putting him at balance. I think Mercury's balanced. One of the only assassins right now that might actually be balanced. Merlin's below balanced. I think he's below average. He needs some slight buffs. I think mainly it's to his blink, or his 3 to his small teleport. I actually think that needs to get buffed. Until that gets buffed, I think he's not gonna be balanced. He gets shit on by pretty much everything. Like, that's the problem. He gets doled by everything, and he just can't get away. If somebody just runs at you, like, you can't do anything. You're just a sitting duck, and you just get destroyed. Morgan Le Fay. You guys guessed where she's going. Who knew, guys? Who knew adding tier 4 glyphs to the game would make Morgan Le Fay busted again? Again, they don't know how to balance their game, let alone probably even play their game. Mulan. I actually think Mulan's actually balanced. I know there's going to be a lot of people that actually disagree with that. I think she's actually getting nerfed for 9.2 as well. Some slight damage nerfs on her too. I always thought she's balanced. I think she's just balanced. I think the reason why people think she's broken is because there's just not many really good solo laners right now. Like, look at all the solo laners that are actually really bad. Like, look at them all that are all really bad. There's some here that are actually okay, like Bellona and some of the Guardians you can kind of plug and play over in solo lane, but like, look at all the ones that are busted. Like, look at all the solo laners that are in solo lane that are legit busted. I don't know. I think she's kind of just because everything else is busted and she's good because she plays really well into a lot of the other top picks. I think that's the reason why people think she's good. Not because she's busted. I think she is balanced. I really do. I know there's going to be people that disagree with that, but whatever. Let me know in the comments down below why you think that. Neith is garbage. F tier. Neith is going to F tier. She's garbage. When was the last time you guys actually seen a Neith in one of your games do something, let alone actually do well? Nausea, garbage. Nike got the shit nerfed out of her. She is C tier at best. She keeps getting nerfed. I don't know why. She's not even that good to begin with, and she keeps getting nerfed, and nothing with her has really changed. You think she would have been a little bit better with the new additions to some of the items we got for Season 9, and nothing really changed with her. Nox needs an entire rework, or just needs to be removed from the game. She's legit garbage and just a throw pick. You pick Nox, you're throwing your match. Nuwa, I think Nuwa's balanced. I'll put her at an A tier. Wow, another balanced mage, guys. Holy shit. Another balanced character. Holy shit. Odin, going right to SS tier. Another broken warrior. What a surprise. Never seems to get nerfed. I think Oleron's balanced. I think out of all the mage ADCs right now, I think Oleron's probably the most balanced one. Osiris, below it. I actually put him at C tier. I don't think he's that good. He's worse than Bellona. There's no reason to pick him over Bellona if you want like an auto attack, like ADC. He's kind of in the same boat as Amaterasu. They're both pretty much the same. Pele, I think Pele's balanced. I really do. I think she's balanced. Persephone, C tier. I wouldn't say she's legit trash, but at the same time, when was the last time you guys actually seen a Persephone in one of your games? Let alone a Persephone that probably did anything. Every time I have a Persephone in my game, they're kind of just an alt bot and they don't really do anything. Ever since she got reworked, she went from being really picked at the start of her rework to being probably one of the most least played, least picked mages in the game. Probably one of the least fun mages to play in the game. They completely reworked Persephone for no reason, and they completely ruined her. She got completely ruined by a rework. The biggest failure of all time for Smite is the rework to Persephone out of all the reworks they've ever done. And she was one of my most played mages up until the rework, and I barely ever play her anymore. I really do. It's because she's not fun. She is not fun to play anymore. They took everything away that actually made her fun to play, and they reworked it, and she's garbage. Her passive is probably one of the worst passives in the game as well. Legit useless. If anything, if you do pick her, she's legit. All you're really going to be doing with her is like an alt bot, and that's pretty much all she really is. I actually think Poseidon's better right now. I wouldn't say Poseidon's balanced, but I think he's a B tier. I actually think he's better than in the jungle than he actually is as a mid laner, which is kind of sad. I think he works in the jungle a lot better. Raijin, I think is above. I think he's A+ tier still. I think he's A+ tier, going right to A+. He's above average. Still needs some nerfs. He does way too much damage. Rama, I think Rama's balanced. Wow, another ADC that's balanced right now, guys. Holy shit. Rat, C tier, garbage, still really bad. Ravana, going right up to SS tier. What a surprise. He's been broken since mid-season 5 or mid-season 8, and he just never gets nerfed. Nothing with him ever gets changed. He just keeps getting better and better, and he just keeps being the same. Scylla, probably one of the best mages in the game, going right to SS tier. Scylla's going right to SS. Circuit is legit trash. Legit garbage. When was the last time you guys actually seen a Circuit in one of your games that actually did something? Let alone did nothing but feed the entire game, because the only time I've seen a Circuit, at least recently, they did nothing but feed, and they were 0-8 in the first 5 minutes of the game. Sedge got way too nerfed. B tier. He is really weak right now. He really is. He got the shit nerfed out of him for I think 5 patches in a row, and he's never been the same. Scotty, I think Scotty's balanced. I'm putting her at an A tier. Solbeck, I think, is balanced. Probably one of the most balanced. I think apart from Jingten, I think Solbeck's probably the most balanced Guardian in the game right now. Sol, which is unfortunate. I think Sol's insanely good. She's not balanced. I wouldn't say that. I think she's actually I put her at an A+ tier. I don't think she's SS tier worthy. I think a lot of people are overreacting with her. I think she's A+ tier. They might end up nerfing her again, but as for right now, I don't even think Sol even needs to be nerfed. I just think they need to buff a lot of the other worst mages in the game, and that's why she's kind of better, because there's not really many other options for mages that are actually at least decent. Buff some of these ones that are in F tier, like Anubis, Alpuk, and all the Isis, all these other ones. Buff some of them first, and then see where Sol sits. Because I think the reason why people think she's really good is because there's a lack of actually good mages right now. Either there's some that are insanely good, and then there's just the ones that are bottom tier garbage. There's not really much in between, apart from Discordia, Baron, and a few of the other ones that we have in A tier. But 3, 4 of them. Wukong, going right to SS tier. Wow, guys, another warrior that's busted. What a surprise! Nothing with him's changed. He's constantly one of the best solo laners in the game. He just never gets fucking nerfed. He just never gets changed. Susanoo, I'm going to put Susanoo at A tier. I think he's balanced. I really do. He got buffed recently, I think 2 patches ago, and I think he's balanced. Sylvanas, I think Sylvanas is balanced. I really do. Terra, B tier. Even with the buffs this next patch, I think she's below average. She still needs something else. Wow, Thanatos. Guess where Thanatos is going? Right on up to SS tier. He needs to be nerfed into the ground. I'm sick of going against him. Really am. If you don't even need to use your ult for an execute, all you need to do is just use your ult, dump on somebody, you do about half their health, and you just use your 3. An ult 3 combo at around about level 10 to level 12 pretty much one-shots any mid laner or any mage, or any mid laner or any ADC, or even the other enemy jungler. It's crazy. Morgan, SS tier. I don't know how she just never gets nerfed. I really don't know why. She's been good for like 2 years and she just never gets nerfed. I don't understand. She's always been good. There's never been a time where Morgan's been bad. At least that I remember. Thor, garbage. One of the worst junglers in the game still. Thoth, I think, is balanced. He used to be really bad, but I think he's a lot better now with like the new tier 4 relics because he has a lot more survivability. But if you don't know what you're doing on Thoth, like, you just still feed. Like, you have to at least know somewhat what you're doing and have to at least be average with him to make him work. If you play him bad, like, you're still going to get destroyed. But I do think he is average right now. Tiamat going right to SS tier. What a surprise. Another mage, similar to Morgan Le Fay. Like one of the newer mages that has been pretty much probably one of the best mages in the game ever since she got released. And she still is. What a surprise. Tsukiyomi, oh shit, another jungler that's broken. What a surprise, like, yet again. Another one that's broken. Let's scroll up because I'm running low on room now. I have to keep scrolling back and forth. Going right to SS tier. He's either picked or banned every single one of your games. So you're going to see him in a lot of your games. Tier, I think tier's balanced. Going to A tier. You kind of have to know how to play him. So, like, if you just you can know how to play him, but you at least need to know how to play him average. So if you don't know what you're doing, like, you just feed on him. So you can argue tier is probably even better than an A tier, but I think he's balanced. Uller. Uller was broken. He was, but then they took away a lot of the items that he liked to build, and then I think they actually might have nerfed him once. I'm not sure what happened to him, but he's kind of fallen off. I actually think he's B tier now. I just don't see him played enough, and when I do see him played, he just doesn't really do much. Vamana, F tier, garbage. One of the worst warriors in the game still. Vulcan, B tier, garbage. Below average, needs some buffs. I think they actually need to buff the damage on his turret, or like buff the health on his turret, because his turret just gets deleted by everything. And it's pretty much a useless ability at this point. Xbalanque, F tier, garbage. Until they give the stun back to Xbalanque, he's going to be legit trash. There's no reason to play him over any other ADC right now. Until they give the stun back in his ultimate, which they took away from him, I think, like 1 or 2 years ago. I think for like mid-season 7 or whatever. He used to get us, if people were moving during his ult, at the end of the duration, they would get stunned for 1 second. Until they bring that back, he's going to always be garbage until they revert that change. Emoji, garbage. One of the worst guardians in the game. She may be insanely good at pro play, which is 1% of the players, but for your average players, she is legit trash, and she's probably the worst guardian in the game. I'd say she's probably arguably even worse than like Kumbhakar and probably Shorm. I'd probably rather have like both of those on my team over than Umoja. I really would. Jean Kui, let's get him out of the way. Balanced, A tier. Zeus. I think Zeus is actually overtuned right now. I really do. I'm going to put him at an A+ tier. I think Zeus is overtuned. He needs his damage scaling, I think, nerf. He needs some slight damage nerfs. And then we got Ymir, which I think is actually going to go up to S tier, SS tier. Ymir is crazy right now. Ymir is crazy. There you got it, guys. There you have it, guys. The entire tier list. Look at how much stuff. Look at how many gods right now are up in the SS busted tier. Keep in mind, we only have 10 bans in ranked. And we have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have at least 10 gods here. We have, what, 34 gods. 34 gods in SS tier. I think that's what that is, because each of these rows is 10. And we only have 10 bans. And those bans can actually be duplicate as well. So if your team and the enemy team bans the same god, then only that one god gets banned. You don't get to ban again. So you can kind of actually even waste bans. So even less than 10 bans in ranked. When there are legit over 30 gods right now that are legit fucking busted. Look at A+ tier. A lot of gods in A+ tier. A lot of gods in A+ tier. Balance, there's a decent amount of gods balanced. Decent amount in the A tier, which is okay. This should be way more, though. Should be way more gods in the A tier, I'm telling you right now. Way more gods that should be balanced. There are a decent amount of gods right now that are balanced, but should be way more. And I guess you include these ones as well that are A tier. You got B tier. Look at how many gods are bad, guys. Look at C and F tier. Look at how many gods in the game right now are legit just borderline like legit trash or like legit trash, and there's no reason to play them at all. Look at all the bad gods in the game. I think the real problem with the game right now is there's just so many gods that are either this god tier awful, as you guys can see by this list, or just busted. There's not really too many gods that are actually in the middle, actually round balanced, or just slightly above balanced. It's either really bad or insanely like just legit like broken tier good. That's the real problem with the game right now. I don't know. Hopefully somebody from the Smite dev team is actually watching, whoever balances the game. Hopefully you take some notes from this video, or at least take some feedback or take some advice if you happen to see this video. Apply it to 9.3, because I think right now, I think over the last 2 years, I think over the last 2 seasons, I think right now, I think the balance is probably the worst it's ever been with the game. I really do. I'm not the only one that thinks that. A lot of other people right now are just fed up with the balance for the game. And that's not even with the issues with the game, with not even being able to play. That's an entirely different topic, because the game, for at least for Switch players right now, is borderline almost unplayable half the time. So, matter of fact, I actually got a 4-hour deserter penalty last night, and I lost another 150 MMR because the game locked me out when I was trying to load into a ranked lobby, and would give me the infinite crashing error every time I would try to join a match. So, and then it gave me a 4-hour deserter penalty and completely ruined my Saturday night. So, that's an entirely different topic and an entirely different video, but that's a huge problem with the game right now as well. But the main problem with the game is it's the balance. The balance is awful. And this is not even the items. Like, there's the items is an entirely different video. Like, this is just purely like god balance, which also takes into consideration some items and the items, but the items is an entirely different video. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you guys agree with this list? Is there stuff I forgot to mention? Is there stuff I have in the wrong spot? Is there stuff I should not have and did not explain good enough? Let me know in the comments down below. Leave your own tier list. That'd be cool as well. If there's something you do not agree with me on, let me know in the comments down below. If you guys like these types of videos, leave a like, subscribe, share the video. I'm going to get out of here. I don't know when I'll do another one of these lists. I might do one for arenas or slash. I don't know. We'll see how this video does. If this video does well, and this video, we'll see if we can get this video to 25 likes. If this video can get to 25 likes, I'll do a slash or an arenas tier list for the start of Season 9. If not, I won't do one. We'll see how this video does. So if you guys want a slash or arenas tier list, get this video to 25 likes. And whenever it does, I'll think about uploading one of those types of videos. So I'm going to get out of here. Peace out, guys. Have a good one. And I'll see you guys in a future tier list video. Probably, I don't know. I won't do one for probably until mid-season. So it'll be a couple months, or at least a few months. So peace out, guys.